Hi, welcome to nScreenNoise. My name is Lloyd and the date today is July 26, 2019. Today we're going to be talking all about India, specifically how fast of a market India is growing in the digital media world. If you're a digital media company out there, you should definitely take note. India is a growing market, probably the fastest emerging market in the world. We're also going to cover that, and we're going to cover the 5 steps that we think are going to make companies successful in the Indian market. These are things that we've seen, these are things that we've reported on, and companies that we've worked with that have been successful in this area. So stay tuned for that. Okay, the first thing that we're going to cover is how big and how fast growing the Indian market is. Just last year, the Indian market added over 100 million internet users. Now, this makes up a quarter of the world's growth when it comes to internet users. So India is no small piece of the puzzle. It's probably the biggest piece. Okay, also too, internet users, although they have some of the slowest connections in the world, specifically if you're streaming from your mobile phone, which is how most Indians view the web, they're streaming at around 10.1 megabytes per second on average. It's not very fast. But when you take into account how long Indians are spending on the internet, it doesn't seem to matter all that much. Indians spend roughly 7 hours and 47 minutes per day using the web. And so these slow connection speeds are not slowing down the amount of time Indians are spending on the web. So what are Indians watching on the web? Well, most of what they're watching is like what the rest of the world is watching: video. We've seen a lot of Indians turning to video, especially YouTube and video players like that. And what we've seen is that we actually did a report last week where of the top 10 YouTube channels out there, 4 of them were Indian. Now, to put that in perspective, of the top 10, only 3 of them were American channels. So if you look at the data, you see that not only is the top spot occupied by Indian channels, but most of the spots after that too are also occupied by Indian channels. India is not just a growing market for YouTube, it's the biggest market for YouTube right now. And speaking of social platforms like YouTube, the social realm is growing a lot in India. Social media sites are up 24% last year, meaning that 24% more users have a social media profile than last year. Roughly that's 60 million people being added to the mix, and that's added to everything from Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, to various other social media sites. Everyone's starting to have a profile. So as fast as the internet is growing in India, social media sites are growing even faster. Okay, so with such a huge growing market in India, what are some of the steps that you can use to be successful if you are a digital media company looking to grow into this area? What should you do? Well, the first thing that you should do is to get into it quickly, because a lot of people are figuring out how fast India is growing. Right now, there's not a lot of competition. There is some competition in there with companies realizing how big it is and spreading there quickly. But right now, it's not as big as it would be, and there's new users being added every single day. So it's an emerging market, and get in there as quickly as possible and start learning the lay of the land before everybody else does. Step 2 is to make sure that your content is locally driven. We've talked to a lot of companies that have come in thinking that a program that was internationally appealing is going to work in India, and most times it doesn't. You need to understand the lay of the land. India is almost a subcontinent. Like, it's a big place, man. There's 1.3 billion people there, and there's hundreds of different languages, hundreds of different cultures, practices. Not everywhere is the same. Everywhere is very, very different from each other. So if you have a creator, if you have an MCN that knows the area very well, I recommend that you value their expertise and work with them, because if you go in there trying to figure it out and thinking that the international stuff that you've used will be appealing to them, chances are it probably won't. Step number 3 is to make sure that your content, or make sure that your prices are cheap. Indians do not like paying for things, as Netflix has found out all too well. In fact, if you look at how well Netflix has done there in comparison to a lot of other companies, it's done quite poorly. iFlix is a company that's done a lot better than Netflix, because their prices are around 1/3 of what Netflix is, and even they are having trouble gaining an audience. So what they've done is they've basically had free options where you can watch films, television shows for free on your mobile phone, or however else you're watching it, but you have to watch a few ads in order to watch the program. So Indians are more likely to watch a program that has ads, that's free, than pay for a program without ads, that you need to pay for. Okay, let's go to step number 4. Step number 4 is basically make your content curated for the mobile phone. If your content looks good on the mobile phone, that's going to make it a lot more successful. Like I said, people use their mobile phones to use the internet in India. They use it more than most people. Don't have laptop computers, most people don't have smart televisions, but they do have a mobile smartphone. And if you're able to make it available on that, if you use the format correctly, so if they turn it sideways, they're able to see it a lot better, that's going to make you a lot more successful. And that kind of leads me into step number 5, which is make sure you make it available at low bit rates or slow connection speeds. The connection speeds are not that fast in India, but if you're able to distribute video, if you're able to distribute your digital content at low bit rates, at slow connection speeds, it's gonna make it a lot more successful than if you have to use high connection speeds and it's an HD quality. Like I said, people are watching most of their content on their mobile phone, so it doesn't need to be super high quality, and that's why a lot of companies like YouTube are super successful in India, because it's free and it's also easy to use in your mobile phone. And when there's not great connection speeds, it can still figure it out and just stream it out at a lower bit rate, so you're still able to see the video. So I would learn a lot from that, you guys. Okay, cool. So those are the 5 steps that we think will make you successful in the Indian market if you're a digital media company. If you have any questions about this, please put them in the comment section below. If you have anything we feel like we left out, please let us know. We always love to have a discussion going. If you're interested in supporting nScreen Media in the future, basically we have a patron program. We're writing things every single day on the digital world, and the companies involved in it. So if you're interested in pieces like that, you can check out the link to our patron program below. Also, there's a link to our site as well too at the bottom, and if you want to check out more articles like this, more videos like this, that would be the place to go. Thanks a lot, you guys. We'll see you again next time.